Hi, my name is Ruth Puttick. I work here at Nesta, and I've been leading on the iTeams research over the past year, along with my co-authors Philip Colligan and Peter Beck. This project started around about a year ago in recognition of a growing trend for governments around the world to be setting up innovation teams, units and funds. And together with Bloomberg Philanthropies, our co-partner, we've set out to find out who these teams are, where they are, what they do, and crucially, what difference are they making to their host and partner governments?
Governments have been responsible for some of the most important innovations that affect all of our daily lives. But one of the things we've learned through this research is that they're best when they put aside a specific capacity and capability to support innovation. And that's what we've called the iTeams.
Drawing on almost 90 interviews, a survey, an extensive literature review and site visits, we tell the story of 20 of these iTeams from around the world. They cover 6 continents and they can be found at a national, regional and city level.
Incredibly excited about today's report and what it says about the progress that this field is making. Very exciting to see the proliferation of iTeams over the past couple of years. There's clearly something in the water, something real is spreading between cities and national governments, and it feels like we're really at a taking off point.
And what we're talking about today is not just a novel organizational type of entity or novel environment or approach. It's also, I think, the beginnings of a new type of profession. If I were to try to articulate what that profession is at MindLab and what we might call it, you could say it's the public design anthropologist. The public design anthropologist, which is someone working with policy, working with public missions for the public good, but is taking a design and ethnographic approach to change.
I think what's most interesting about the iTeams around the world is the spirit, or the ethos of how they work, which is very different from traditional bureaucracies. It's an ethos which says move quickly into action, try things even on a small scale, rather than waiting to produce big, complicated policy plans and strategies.
There is no shortage of problems for the city to work on, nor any shortage of solutions that are coming together, but we've failed to get traction in many ways. And so that is no less true at the neighborhood level. One of the priorities for our mayor is to bring economic vitality to some of our most disadvantaged neighbors in our neighborhoods. To this point, it's understood that the government needs the neighborhoods to excel and the neighborhoods need the government. Until the iTeam came into play, they were unable to realize the value of that need from each other.
You need to forge strong links with government and other organisations to leverage funding resources and insights to achieve your goals.
You know, what we're talking about is essential work, which should be expected of all governments, rather than special exciting work that's opted into by a few governments.
Too often when we think about innovation, we're just thinking about the new ideas and the new ways of working. But we have to be actively seeking to stop those things that are then redundant.
As an iTeam or a sort of an innovation lab, you definitely need to demonstrate a certain degree of non-attachment. So somebody else standing up and claiming that their idea is their idea and talking about it in their own words, in their own language, an idea that you might have had and originated, is a massive success.
You know, we need to have the skills, we need to have the people who have the time, the energy, and the resources needed to identify the big problems, generate better solutions, and help local governments drive those ideas forward.
The really compelling models or iTeams are those that have a really clear logic model or a theory of change, not just for them as a team, but also for their individual programs of work to help monitor progress and track success. But it's fair to say that this really is a kind of area that a lot of the teams find challenging.
When you look across the 20 examples that we highlighted in the iTeams report, you see each of these cities or national governments finally have a mechanism that they need to come up with bigger, better, bolder ideas that can really solve the challenges that all of our governments are facing.
In many of the cases, but not all, is the engagement of political leaders willing to identify themselves with radical innovation. And that in some ways is new because often politicians feel very nervous about experiments and about trials because some things will go wrong. But we're seeing a new generation of politicians, both mayors and national ministers, who see this as part of their job to try things out, to experiment in order to drive the performance of the public sector forward.